double checking on my phone again, right? Give me a second. I'm sorry for these technical issues. Let me wait. Let me check this if this is going right or not. I'm sorry. I'm really not this technical guy with these things. We started this recently, and I think we need just maybe test it. Let me wait. Let me check this if this is going right or not. I'm sorry. I'm really not. Yeah, it looks good. It looks good. So everybody, please. Everybody, please join. Everybody, please join this stream now, right? Uh, uh, yeah. Okay. I'm sorry for this guy. I'm sorry for this, guys. Hopefully, you can rewatch this in the review if you're not catching the beginning, right? I'm just going to turn on this on my phone so I can read the questions if someone. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Right. So yeah, okay. Hey, what's up, buddy? I'm really curious about USD. Yeah, we will look at it, right? So, okay. So no any complicated mics and these things are all right. So let's go to the charts, right? So we had the trade on the DXY. We had actually just to review them. We had actually shared them here in the Telegram. So it was this, right? So we had this dollar index long where we had this daily range, right? Manipulation. I entered in here on this close, right? Targeting these highs, right? I closed a little bit earlier because price was a little bit ranging and there was FOMC that night, right? Next trade was a euro, right? Also here we had the range, weekly range, daily range, price around above, right? Perfect entry would be here. However, it was at 4 a.m. on the morning, so I wasn't on the charts that time. Waiting. Here is when I came into the charts, some that time, right, and entered on the retest, right? Been targeting this low, right? However, again in here I closed a little bit earlier, right? So I closed all the trades a little bit earlier. In some case it was now a mistake, but anyway, profit is profit, right? Again, daily range, weekly range, price running above, right? Creating this last up candle, right? Actually, to be exact, the last up candle is in here, right? Here should be again perfect entry. However, it was during the night, then price dropping lower in here, closing here, retest, right? And you have the entry again. Sometimes you will see that the best entries would be
It's a technical guy with these things.
that the best entries would be in here, but you will miss them, right? It will be at night. So in here it will be at night, so you simply enter the next one, right? Because it's the setup is playing. You cannot be always looking for the perfect entries, right, and waiting for the retest of that entry again. It can happen, it can retest 2 times, right? But you need to catch the trade, right? So since I'm not looking for the best entries, I'm catching more trades, right? Like same in here, right? Look, this was the USD CAD, right? Obviously the best entry would be the retest in here, right? But in this moment, in this time, in this case, I had to use the common sense when I seen that dollar index is already running, right? Euro is running, pound is running, right? All of them. So I simply entered in here, right? And I've been able. I was comfortable with seeing the retest in here, right, or probably some pullback, right, and go with a little bit drawdown, right, before we go higher, right? So yeah, so that's our trades. Now here we have what's going on, right? So let me show you and explain you what is my thesis in here. I will a little bit delete what we have here to make it a little bit clear, right? Like this. So we start with the euro. Actually, let's go to the dollar index first, right? Here is a dollar index, right? And let me delete these things to come into the initial idea of the this month, right? What I still think somehow maybe could play, but I really don't have my confidence at this moment, right? So let me delete these things here. I will leave this, right? So you know what? Let's take it from the beginning, right? So here we had this weekly CLS range, right, where actually this model number one was playing, right? Then we've been waiting for the model number two. Also, what is important in here, key level, right? So let's find a key level. Where is the key level? This, right? This down candle, right, was the key level. Why? Because from here was the power accumulated to break what? To break this, right? So that's probably a level that could have some significance and at least bounce the market, right? So it has bounced and this big candle has been rebalanced. 50% is enough for the continuation lower, right? Now, we need always to think as we're looking for a market continuation, right? So we have the one candle, second candle closing below, right? So where's the liquidity now? Still the liquidity is here, right? So we should be bearish until here, right? But right now is the question, right? Because what can happen? You see this is a monthly. Today, tomorrow will be the monthly close, right? And what can actually still happen is that we're gonna probably have this FVG in here, right? And the price still can do something like this, right? Right, which would mean that in this our CLS range, this model number two could play, right? Also, we have this another CLS range created in here, where I actually traded this model number one in here, right? So we have two CLS ranges, right? So if you look at it this way, it's a two CLS ranges. But what gives me a little bit worries about is that this level is actually a level which was already tested, right? And now let's put it into the context, right? So we have price dropping lower, coming into this level, right? Then going higher, right? Here on the weekly, actually, sorry, daily, right? We creating this key level, right? Could be like this one, right? Right, this up candle before price dropped lower, right? So this key level, right? Retested, right? And then price going again lower. Broke this low, right? Then it went up to retest what? To retest this, right? This is again order block, right? And we have this, we have moved up with the gap and then strongly rejected down, right? So we could be trading this CLS range, but look, we would be still trading from this key level, which was already tested once, tested the opposing key level, and now we having a move into it, right? Bounce, and again from another order block, which is in this 50% CLS range, again going down into this key level, right? Let's go back in here, so you can see key level, right? So we have the break, retest again, right? If we look at it from the monthly, we should have the liquidity in here, right? And we should be trading at least into the monthly level, which is here, right? This down candle on the monthly was the one that broke this, right? So on the monthly, the key level is a little bit lower, right? In here. Right, let's go to the weekly, and if you look on the weekly, this key level which was tested in here has now in here also quite few relatively equal lows. Hello, Mohsen, hello my friend, right, which is below here, right? So we have quite I would say quite some levels down here which could be visited, right? And we would be trading from here, right? So I don't have too much confidence right now to take, sorry, on the 4 hours should be right. So if we speak right now about this CLS range, let me change the color so we see it clearly, right? We have this CLS range. So we had the model number 1, then pullback, right? 61.8. It's all perfect, right? Here could be model number 2 targeting the top of the CLS range, right? It could play from here, right? But as said, I don't have a confidence of this happening right now, right? Because if you remember in the trading plan, what is a low probability, right? Low probability is a last and first trading day of the new month, right? Last or first day of the new month, right? So last day of this month and the first day of the next month, right? So currently not sure if I want to trade this. It's the last day of the month, right? Everything looks also bearish on the higher time frame. We had the model number 1 playing here, which is enough in the as a counter trend trade, right? If we measure dealing range in here, right? Let me show you. Right, we have reached, because here was the rejection, right? We measuring the dealing range, and we have actually reached also in here. Look, you remember transition candle, right? Let's go higher time frame. Now here, transition candle, right? The candle. Wait, give me a second. This should be from here, right? Like this. Transition candle, this one, which took us from the premium to discount, right, is this one, right? Transition candle was reached, right? So I'm not sure if I would like to be bullish in here. It's giving me the things to worry about, right? If I look to my results, right, and I look to the custom period, right, and I start, let me show you. Look, I go from 1st May, right? I have 12K profit, right? Why would I expose myself right now into something in here, right? I could rather wait, right, for some high probability setups, right? End of the month in here. Let's go to the euro, right? Here's what we have on the euro. Everything looks actually perfect, right? Look, we have this weekly CLS range, right? This big one, right? Price manipulated, then we traded lower into a 50%. Also in here was a transition candle, liquidity on the 4 hours, right? Which was perfectly taken in here. Since then, price start to move higher, right? Then last week we have a new weekly range created, and we actually traded model number 1 in here, right? That was the trade which I showed you in that review. Okay, sorry, I'm using the wrong tool here. Right, we have this weekly CLS range, and from the weekly we go to the 4 hours, right? And there was a perfect setup in here, right? Once the price closed below that, right, that's where was our entry and 50% target, right? Beautiful, this played out, right? So right now what we could do, we have this higher time frame CLS range right in here, and actually the price created the model number 1, it traded lower. I need this tool now. Model number 1, it traded lower, right? And then it's making pullback, right? You know where is the model number 2? It's between these two, right? Let me change the color. Right, actually let me put the background a little bit here, right, like that. right? So this is the zone where we want to be looking for the model number 2 to trade lower, right? Then again, we have this second CLS range in here, which has created the manipulation model number 1, and then we're looking for the model number 2, right, in here, right? Also, this looks perfect, right, for the short, for taking model number 2, right? So we could be actually taking the model number 2 in here, right? Want to play safe, right, like that, right? And also the smaller one in here, right, like this, right? So there could be these two trades, but what's worrying me is this. Look, if I remove also this and this, right, look, how are these two relatively equal highs in here not taken, right? I do not want to enter the trade. I do not want to enter the trade in here when I see that 100% in here will be a stop loss cluster of the sellers, of those who entered this, right? Because when this breakout happened in here of this trend line, right, most of the traders definitely entered the short, right, and probably they have stop loss in here above this double top, right, and targeting maybe this or whatever, right? There will be a lot of traders trapped right now in the shorts. I'm 100% sure about it, right? So I do not want to enter when this is in here, right? If what has happened in here, if this went higher in here, right, I would be confident by taking this model number 2 in here, right, and I would be still holding, right? But as it didn't happen, right, that's why I decided when yesterday I've been trading, Tuesday been trading this short, I just took the model number 1, right? Not confident with this, right? Also, if we look at the daily right now, yes, we have this daily order block, right? This one that took liquidity and price took price lower, right? Now the definition of the order block is that it's supposed to be, for the bullish order block, supposed to be in the discount, right? So if we move this, right, you see we traded into the discount, and also it should take some liquidity, right? Which has happened actually in here, was transition candle liquidity in here, right? And also we want to see this switch in here with the force, right, which is quite nicely happening in here, right? So if you look to the daily, this candle, this down candle in this discount is actually the order block, right? So let's look where we are right now. You see we have bearish order block, right, that been tested once, 2 times, and then we have bullish order block created in the discount after taking the liquidity and price tested. So you are right now stuck between these two, plus you have a liquidity above here, right? If you look to the higher time frame, it looks bullish to me, because why? Because we have accumulation, right, manipulation. Now we are in the distribution phase, right? Are we going higher? Most likely we could, right? But the question is right now this, are we gonna go higher from here, from this one, right, like this, right? Or is it going to play from this, because this is a weekly key level, right? Or is it going to play from this weekly key level, right? And do I want to risk this swing down? Yes, I would like to, but I don't want to do it if this looking like this, right? Especially if it is looking like that and we have this bearish retail signal, right? Now, please, I don't think that I'm not smart money trader because I'm trading whatever concepts, right? But this is kind of like what is written in every stupid trading book, right? And I'm sure that people definitely traded this. So, uh, what to say? I know what's the strategy, I know what's the setup, but this just doesn't give me a confidence and a reason to put money on the table, on the risk right now, because we are between these two key levels, right? Let's look to the GBP, and GBP looks quite different, right? It looks better for me to short, right? So let's go to daily first, actually to the weekly. On the weekly, we can see this nice CLS range, right? This nice CLS range tapping above these two highs and has reacted on this level, right? This level in here is quite strong one, because if you look into this two equal lows, right? This is a last up candle from where we have seen this break, right? And this is where we arrived just right now and taking these two liquidities in here. Also, if we go to the daily down, right, we can see that price, sorry, we can see that price didn't make any big pullbacks in here really into transition candles, right? So here it looks like the pullback is needed a little bit more, right? A little bit more than on the euro, right? Also, it doesn't have any equal highs above, right? Some kind of double top, right? And if we go again to the weekly, yeah, okay, we've been on the weekly, and on the 4 hours, it still didn't make this pullback into this 50%, right, on this weekly. But on this one, where we had this weekly range, right, it already played, right? Let me draw it back, right? This smaller one, it already played, right? The model number one. On the GBP, the model number one would be finished in here, right? In this 50%. We still didn't reach down here, right? So for me, what's happening in here? We have this weekly range, we have this key level in here, right? And now we dropped lower, and I think that this key level, if it is retested, right, we still could get this, and it still will be just a model number one, right? So in my opinion, the pound is giving better opportunity than the euro right now. Right, let's check USD JPY. Here is actually everything done, right? Let me start over. Weekly, right? We had this weekly range. We had this weekly range in here. Right, let me take it to the 4 hours. Right, model number one, model number two played, right? So this range is done, but we are still kind of in here, but you should not be taking the trades from that anymore, right? Then we had another weekly range yesterday, this week, but it has played here, right? So another beautiful, quite big candle, right? Could be specified as a weekly range, right? Let's go to 4 hours, right? And we don't need this one anymore because they already played, right? And we drop below it, right? Here you can see candle closing in here, right? This entry is kind of like sometimes when it is too difficult, you need to go lower time frame, right? You see candle closing here, then you have a order block in here created, right? And you should enter in here, right? And you could be targeting 50% and then the whole range, right? For the model number one, I would be a little bit hesitating because it would not give me a really good risk reward, right? For the model number two, yes, but then you simply waiting for a pullback, right? So I cannot be saying, right, look, this is easy, you catch the trade like that, right? I didn't catch that because it wasn't looking for too good for me, right? But it has played. So let's go back to the weekly, and we have these two ranges already played, right? Now, what's also happening in here, I realized that, yes, we bounced from the level in here, right? Then we moved to the opposing level, right? Like this, right? So, right? And now we have everything is playing in here, right? This range is done. Then what you can do, you can go down daily, right? So you can see this has reaction in here, right? From here, price going lower, break these two lows, right? And it actually created this new order block in here, right? Which has also reaction in here, right? So most likely we could go lower, but in here anyway, there's no CLS range, there's no setup, right? Now we have USD CAD, right? This is again a little bit different story. Good morning, Marco. Right, here is a little bit different story on the USD CAD, because the commodity pairs sometimes don't move in the correlation with the dollar index, because they have really small part in the dollar index, right? So they can be a little bit different. And in here, I do think that we might get this long, and it looks like a good opportunity to me. What we see, we have monthly CLS range, we have also weekly CLS range, right? Let me change this monthly range so we have a little bit different color, right? We have monthly CLS, we have weekly CLS in here, right? Let's go lower time frame, 4 hours, right? Sorry. And here we had actually also a daily CLS range, right? This blue one, right? So we can see price almost hit that high, right? So here was the change in the order flow. I don't know why I have this here, right? So we had the change in order flow in here, and price moved above a 50% of the CLS range, right? So what I'm doing, simple thing, right? Placing this, and this is where I will be looking for a model number 2, right? So what can be also supportive, and maybe this level will not be reached, could be the reason that this monthly CLS could be supporting in here, right? So you have monthly, daily, and this is that weekly, right? So I think this one has a chance to play out. We will see, right? Yeah, so that's what I'm seeing right now, and I really would like to play this, right? I really would like to, because it makes sense to me. It follows the strategy, right? We are nicely in the levels, but we have these two equal highs, and I think as we are right now between these two levels, we have end of the month, right? It would not be really too smart to open short right now, right? Because we coming from the level after taking liquidity, right? This level was retested, right? Level created, level retested. Price moves lower to the discount. Created order block, level retested, right? Order block retested. Now we coming here, right? So what's most likely gonna happen? Will it go lower down here? I don't know, right? I'm not sure. I simply, as said, I would short it, but I simply do not want to put my stop loss here where everyone have it, right? Because what I would have to do is to do this, maybe, right? To take this weekly range. Sorry, where was this weekly? Right here. right? To trade this, right? To put stop loss where everyone have it, or should I put it above here, right? To target this. It's like a 2.1 RR, right? Risk reward 2.1 if all of this drops down lower, right? Actually into this key level, right? Which is even not giving me 2.1, right? And if you look at this on this time frame, it's like a big move, right? It's how many pips it is, right? It's like 400 pips, right? So it would take days, right? You can see how long it was dropping in here. 1, 2, 3, 4. You would be in such a trade for 2 or 3 weeks just for 2RR, right? That's what I don't want to be looking for. So what is the, now I need to think like, think about it this way, right? So, okay, so what can happen? If I'm in this trade, I will need to put my stop loss above here to be safe, right? But there is a chance that it will go higher. So I will be in the drawdown. But also it can go lower, okay. But I don't have such a big risk reward. And I guess that if it is such 400 pips, there will be some pullbacks or some new ranges created. So I rather wait for the better setup from the level which wasn't tested yet, right? From the level which wasn't tested yet. Or what can actually happen? It can run up in here, right? Then what? Then I can use smaller stop loss, right? Then I can actually look for the 2RR just like that, right? And even if I hold it better, look, then I have 4RR, right? So you need to be thinking, right, all right, this is now looking like that. What others are doing, where they have stop losses. If they have them here, most likely I'm going to join the group of those who mostly lose, or I will rather skip today, right, and wait for the better opportunity. Because yes, this can go lower, but as said, 400 pips, you will definitely have some runs above, some new candles, some new ranges created, which will help you to form better risk reward setup, right? So that's how I would think about it, right? Which will give you some nicer and better setups, right? All right, so I'm probably not gonna open any trade today, only if we see some really big move up. But anyway, I don't. That's it's not necessary, right? We have enough. Let's look to the crypto a little bit, and we can see right in here, like we've been thinking yesterday, right? We have the range, right? It was manipulated a little bit here, right? And we've been thinking, right, all right, what if I take the long trade in here, right? Look, and I was thinking, right, okay, the range is maybe not deep enough, right? Maybe it can go lower, and it's actually happening, right? So even though I draw it in here, I didn't took the trade, but I actually took this short yesterday during the stream with the Hyro, and I'm in this position because I think the crypto is going to make a pullback. Look at this, USDT dominance, right? Look what is going on in here, right? We have this range, manipulated, price went lower, dropped into the transition candle, right? Created new CLS range in here, right? Give me a second, guys. I'm going to connect the cable into my Mac because otherwise it's gonna turn off. All right. right? We have a new CLS range here created, price manipulated in here, right? It's happening in the discount, in the transition liquidity. Now we are closing above, right? And most likely we go higher, right? So where it's going to go, here is a 50% of that range, right? So model number one probably could be playing in here, right? So before we go lower, we go first higher, right? Into this, or maybe into this one, right? So what would this mean for the Bitcoin? For the Bitcoin, it would mean this. This, right? Maybe this later, maybe this, right? All can happen. So yeah, so that's what I think is happening in here. So then when I was looking at the Bitcoin, right? So okay, Bitcoin, we have this CLS range. I think it goes slower, right? But I'm not selling the low, right? I'm not gonna sell here. So I've been looking at the pairs, right? Link, right? Probably going lower, right? If the Bitcoin will do that deeper pullback, this one will go a little bit deeper more, right? Even down here. I need to update these charts. But Ethereum was looking interesting to me because why? Because look, we have also 3-month CLS range, right? And it has played in here, and we reached this higher time frame equilibrium, which is this 50%, right? 50% or the equilibrium is the same thing. But if we look to the lower time frame on the weekly, looks quite good to me because we have this strong weekly CLS range. Let me extend it a little bit, right? And maybe I will change the color. I like this color too much, but we need to see it better in here, right? So now we have this weekly CLS range, right? We can see a manipulation 1, manipulation 2 into this order block, right? In here I have measured the midpoint of the order block of these two candles. The exact midpoint is here, right? And we can see candles are rejecting in here, right? Again, I have measured this CLS range also, this candle, which is not like really CLS range, right? But I have measured this range because we can see these two candles was kind of ranging, right? So what's happening? We had expansion, right? These two are consolidation. Here we have the manipulation, and now we will most likely go lower, right? Here is a 50% of this CLS range. Most likely we will go down here, right? I do think so. If the Bitcoin do this down here, right, then there is a high chance that the Ethereum go lower, right? And again, Bitcoin is on the low of the range, Ethereum is on the highs of the range, right? So that's why it looked good to me to sell it. Now here's what I have seen in here, right? So we have this yellow range, also this weekly range, right? In here we have this double top, and look, here's exactly the case, right? When you see a double top like this in here, right? Classic textbooks resistance, what they teach as a resistance, right? What has happened in here, right? Trend line break, right? So they had the double top, right? Trend line break. What they doing here, right? Those who've been learning from the books, right? Trend line break, double top, you have strong level, price will not go there, I can put the stop loss in there. Yeah, okay. So price came for them, right? In here. So it's a bearish signal based on the trading books, right? So you can trade against that and you wait, right? And that's the same case we have here on the euro, in my opinion, right? Look, double top, right? Trend line break in here. In my opinion, they will come for this, right? Most likely. right? So we had this manipulation in here, right? Price went higher. Now we are looking for this candle, the up candle, right? The next candle closing below it with the force, with the fair value gap, right? And I've been entering right away in here, right? I was not waiting for anything, right? And now I think maybe we can get some pullback a little bit, but we have this higher time frame key level. This one should protect me, right? This one should protect me. It obviously does not mean that I will put stop loss like that, right? That's not what I'm gonna do. I'm here, right? I'm safe in here, and yeah, targeting these lows, right? Then it could be even lower, which is this higher time frame, these lows, right? So this trade looks good to me. I'm selling on the top of the range after the manipulation, right? In here I would be selling before the manipulation, right? So I'm not giving up on that potential of this short playing out, but I would not be here like everyone, right? I bet that if we look to the, let's check this thing. I bet that if we look to the sentiment, I believe that most of the traders will be short. Where is it? Market community sentiment. Right, we can see 56% traders are short, right? Which is not really that too much. It's really not that too much, right? Anyway, what else? Link, right? Now I need to revise most of these my analysis, right? Because what I did in here is that I basically measured. Okay, here I already adjusted. Here's also actually the AVE. I want to show you. We've been talking about this one on the Tuesday, right? Same thing. And as I'm journaling these things, it start to make sense for me to start to getting short actually also around the 50% as a pullback, right? So let's look at this one. Let's try to explain how this one works, right? How this trade should be taken. Just for the record, I didn't take the trade, but this is what we have drawn on the Tuesday, I think, right? So let's look weekly. Look, we had a high time frame range, right? Coming from the level, this is in my opinion 1 month or 3 months, doesn't matter right now. We can see price drop below it, right? Rejected, blah blah blah, going up 50%, right? And around this 50%, what's happening, right? We have this quite big candle, right? Big candle happening here, big candle taking out these highs, right? Look at this, actually, not the big candle, the manipulation candle, right? Again, look. If I make it like this, right? Now at this moment, and let me hide these two things, right? Let me hide this one. Right, so what you see two equal highs, right? You see two equal highs. Now what you think? Would you simply you see here was these two equal highs, price start to drop lower, right? So would you sell in here? What happen if you're gonna sell in here, right? What's gonna happen, right? See, price will take you out, right? That's why I'm not again entering this euro right now, right? So let's draw what we have seen in here, right? So we had this range, price went higher, right? Take these highs and create that change in the order flow, right? We have last up candle taking the liquidity above the range and above some previous highs, right? Hello, gold looks good. Okay, we can check also the gold. We have time today. So price closed below it in here, right? And that's our order block, right? So that's where we should be looking for our short. Why is right now potentially and higher probability that our stop loss is saved in here? Because what has happened, as I told you, some traders definitely shorted that double top, right? So they've been stopped out in here, right? Then there is the other group of the traders who take the long in here, right? Because it's a breakout and they do not want to miss this big potential upside, right? So look what has happened in here. Sellers has lost, buyers are trapped in the trade right now, right? So where the price will most likely go for another liquidity? Where will be another liquidity? Around a 50% or maybe a little bit below, right? Below this low as our model number one, right? These buyers who bought the top, they are right now trapped, right? So price will not give them the chance to exit on the break even. It will keep them trapped until they are out, right? Right? Now we see again. Look. Right? Again, double bottom, right? Currently, in the current markets. What mostly happens when it creates some double bottom, it's not enough. They also create some kind of a signal, right? So maybe someone draws the trend line like this. So what could be happening? Ranging, trend line break, right? Traders will be trading the trend line break without any market context, without knowing where we are. They will enter in here, and where they will put stop loss, right? Again, they will put it below here, right? Still same thing, right? And that it will go down for them, right? So still having in mind what the others could be doing is really powerful, right? Okay, let's look to the gold. You can see I again have deleted it from my watch list because somehow I'm not doing well on the gold. But you guys still coming back and asking me, what about the gold? What about this gold? Why everyone still wants to trade gold? Because it's moving. And when it is so, because it's moving, and people think which one we're gonna use here. Saxo, that's the best charts. All right, gold. So let's try to think about the gold. It's going up, right? Okay, so here is the weekly, here is the monthly, right? Let's start on the monthly. We can see again, right? If you remember from, let me show you, where is it? Here. Let me find for you, right? Liquidity. We have one candle, another one closing above, right? So draw on the liquidity is on the top, right? That's what's happening on the gold on the weekly, right? We have this candle closing above this one, so the liquidity should be above here. On the monthly, we are still bullish. We're probably going to reach this high, right? High probability that it can happen. If we should reverse, what has to happen is this, right? The top candle should be taken and price start to drop slower, right? Obviously, it doesn't mean that this is always the rule, but this is the high probability for us to trade the short, right? So that's in here. Let's go weekly, right? Weekly kind of ranging, right? What I would draw in here is basically some kind of, I would be looking for the rejections, which would be this one, right? Also this one, also this one, from where I would draw my dealing range, right? right? So if I draw it like this, that would mean for me that in order to trade uh, to these highs, I would need to see this pullback down, right? However, as it is weekly, these rejections in here are also quite significant, right? And you can see big expansion from here, right? So then I could actually draw it like this, right? Let's go lower. Did we dip into a liquidity in here? We've been in this candle, right? We've been also in here, right? It's a green, it's in the discount, right? Down candles in here, right? Order block create that, order block retest that, right? Let's go 4 hours, what I can see in here, right? So could it go up? It probably could. Would I take long here? No, right? Why? Because this low still can be taken, and if we go deeper, where we will go? We will go deeper into this level, right? Into here. From here, I would like to be bullish, right? But again, this is just a, now we are just doing a market context. What has to happen in here for me, in order to be bullish, I would need to see a CLS range candle, right? Which this one actually could be a nice one. Let's look at also to the weekly, right? On the weekly, we are trading inside, right? We are trading inside previous week's range, right? So for me in here, not set up yet. If I go lower time frame and then maybe this, right? Next week, or if it drops lower today, I would not be opening that. The next week, something like this, I would trade it, right? But at this moment, also doesn't look too interesting for me, right? Because again, look, we want to do what? We want to buy low, sell high, and we don't want to do nothing in the between, right? If you look at the market right now, and I don't say that it's obviously not possible to trade it, but I'm always like to look for the highest probabilities, right? If I put measure range like this, right? Yes, we've been in the discount. Yes, could go up from here, but you know, I would not do anything in here. There was this nice range. I think the was 2 weeks ago. This one, right? Adrian traded it here, right? This was nice opportunity in here, right? Because this is everything you want to. It is in the discount, right? It has created the CLS range. It has made the manipulation, right? It has created the nice order block in here, right? Model number 1, look, almost reached the highs. Then you get model number 2 in here, right? Like this. Model number 2. Here is your entries, right? And you play that, right? So that's nice one. But in here, not interesting for me, right? Here on the 1 hour, you had the range in here, right? But that could be like a cherry picking, right? Right now I can go back and pick up every candle and which I see that it played and say, okay, you could trade here, you could trade here, right? But again, you know, what we want to do is to take lows or highs before we going long, right? So for me, not interesting in here. Also, sometimes I put this to my charts, right? These moving averages, let me show them, right? And it's still telling me it's kind of bullish, right? We're reacting in this moving average, this 50 moving average, right? We dipped below it, we are back above it, right? But it's just for me, for the information which I should be looking for, right? And but I really like to if in the bullish trend, I really like to be positioned uh, like around at 200, right? Like seeing that the chart is in the context like in the lower part, but still the moving averages are going higher, right? This is kind of like in the middle, right? If you also draw some channel, right, and it would be really like trying to fit into the markets, right? If you also draw a channel, right? If you're drawing channels and you want to go long, you finding the levels here, right? Another one, another ones which supports, right? And you want to be trading from the lows, right? In here, you are quite, you know, again, if the price drops lower into the discount in here, right? Which will give the conference the channel and these things which are really not using, right? So that would be interesting, right? But right now I don't see anything, right? So sorry Ruben if I didn't help you, but I'm really not good at the gold, right? I know um, simply uh, I'm not doing well here, right? I'm not complicated. So why would I bother myself to do the charts which are hard to understand for me, right? GBP, JPY, I think sure. What time frame? Okay, so it's probably this daily, right? Is it this one? Daily, monthly CLS, yeah. You mean this? Is it? This would make sense to me, right? But what I this one went higher, right? I would need to find a context also here on this left side a little bit. What the price we coming from? What key level is here? No, it's quite ranging a lot. Yeah, makes sense. I will might look over the weekend to some other cross pairs also to see what's going on. But for me, it makes sense to trade just these three or four, right? But yeah, this makes sense, GBP, JPY, because look, GBP quite overextended, right? If you look from the beginning of the year, GBP has rose 12%, right? It's quite a lot. It doesn't mean that it cannot go higher, but it's quite a lot. And look, actually, one thing is actually quite important and interesting. Look, this is 3 months candles, right? We can actually look through. Okay, let's look 3 months, right? So there is mostly the 3 months candles, and there is some shifts, right? So look, we are now here. That is the April candle, right? And then what's gonna be next, right? So let's look what was happening before, right? Look here, April candle, then drop. January, April candle start to drop, right? April candle start to drop. Again, April start to drop, right? July, April, here it went higher, right? April, drop, right? April candle, manipulation, then drop, right? July, it went higher, here, not here. April candle, then drop, right? So if you go monthly, we can check. May, right? So let's look how many times it went go down in the May, right? May, top. January, February, March, April, May, price start to go down. December, January, May, nothing. July, May, went higher than down. Right? Here it went higher, right? So nothing really exact, right? But on the 3 months, it's definitely kind of playing out, right? But it's a lot of it's a big time frame, right? So we can get actually do another 1 month higher, right? But anyway, what I wanted to say, GBP quite overextended, right? And JPY looks bearish and has room to go lower, right? Again, if you look here, right, quite relatively equal lows, right? And if you draw the trend line in here, right, maybe someone entered here, right? Maybe traders looking for longs in here, right? But the same thing, right? We have the double bottom and we start to get bullish a little bit, right? So definitely some traders trapped probably in some longs, hoping that they will not be taken out in here, right? All right, my friends, I'm talking too much right now, and really with no point, right? I think we've been looking for a lot of important things, and for me, it's not gonna be a trade today, right? As mentioned, only above, right? And I call it as quite successful month. Unfortunately, I made the big profits on the beginning. Then I gave them all back because I was scaling the risk. I was using all the profits to risk them to make more. So I almost lost whole profits from the beginning of the month and then made some kind of 12K back on this account, right? So yeah. So let's watch this dump. Take care, my friends. I'll be back on the Monday, and from the next few weeks when I'm finishing right now something else for the community, then I will be more active in the community, in the Discord community, right? Take care. Goodbye, Adrian. Goodbye, Ruben. Goodbye, Marco. Goodbye, everyone. Have a great weekend, my